For years and years, there was this discussion about Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady. And I'm like, folks, it's not just about throwing pretty passes. The media loved Aaron Rodgers. He's a little like them, self-absorbed. But Brady actually is no passive-aggressive, barks, yells, confrontational, never quits, total foxhole guy. Yesterday is a great example of the difference over the last year or two of Aaron and Tom Brady. Now, in defense of Aaron yesterday, they were missing their top receiver, got hurt on the first play of the game. That did not help at all. So let's be fair here. You know, kid gets hurt. Week before, Christian Watson got hurt. He didn't have a ton to deal with. But this league, the NFL humbles you very quickly if you are not all in all the time. Off season, during season, sideline. And Aaron hasn't always been all in, especially in a season with kid wide receivers. Okay, you see quarterbacks decline. I see quarterbacks decline. It's usually a physical thing. But Aaron's often looked checked out during games. He keeps mentioning retirement over and over, which is why Davante Adams left. He won't commit off-season or in-season to developing, putting your arms around, and mentoring young receivers. I talk to old legendary quarterbacks all the time. I really do. You know, I love football and I love the quarterback position. And the guys that get out of it, they can still play, but they don't want to go all in physically. They find they're close to 40. Teammates are 20. They don't have a lot in common. So they call it a wrap. And I get it. And with Aaron, he's becoming a lot like older Brett Favre. And I've always been an Aaron guy more than a Favre guy. I think Aaron's smarter. I think Favre was too gunslinger for me. I know he related to Middle America and Aaron's more coastal, but I've always been an Aaron guy over a Favre guy. But Aaron's becoming Favre. Stubborn, rigid. I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to hint constantly at retirement as if I don't need the sport. So what did Green Bay do in the offseason? They went and got him his old 70-year-old quarterback coach. They went and overpaid for Randall Cobb because that's what made Aaron happy. Was that really the best move for the organization? I'd argue it wasn't the best move for Aaron Rodgers. He just doesn't want any discomfort anymore. He won't run an offense with motion. Remember at the end with Mike McCarthy? He would roll his eyes. I mean, that's literally been now reported. I'm not going to run that play. I'm not going to do motion. I want Randall Cobb. I want my old quarterback coach. I don't want to throw to young receivers. It's becoming very Brett Favre. And I do think Aaron still is a great, great player, but I think he took a lot for granted this year. Like, you know, we'll just beat Minnesota. No, Minnesota's got better players. Oh, we'll sweep the Lions. I don't know. Jared Goff and that offense, pretty good at home. Well, it's the Bears. I don't know. I looked at Chicago yesterday. That was one of the best losses of the year. Maybe yesterday was humbling. I hope so. I don't think the season's over. I think the season for Green Bay is limited because the quarterback, as I said all offseason, does not have the personality to put his arms around and be almost a surrogate father to these young receivers, and that's what it takes. I don't believe Aaron is washed physically. I don't believe Russell Wilson is washed physically. Aaron throws a beautiful ball. Aaron is still athletic. Had a couple of nice scrambles yesterday. He's still smart. This is not beat up on Aaron Day. It's be honest about Aaron Day, and Aaron needs to look in the mirror. He needs to refocus. He needs to recommit. He's got to stop talking about retirement. That is why Davante Adams left. You got to care more about your play caller and trust your play caller more than your shaman. You were not all in. That is, you went from being from another earth to dating blue of earth to what in the world are we seeing currently on this earth, which is, I don't know what I see other than a quarterback who keeps talking retirement, who won't put his arms around receivers, who, you saw the last couple of drives. I mean, he checked out, is done with it. And I want to pivot now to Tom Brady because Tom Brady was the opposite of that. Think about Tom Brady's year. The biggest gap between Brady and Rodgers, I talked about it for years, was on display yesterday. Brady, for the last year, has been going through a public divorce. Don't think this thing got ugly 2 months ago. When you have a net worth of $500 million and she has a net worth of $600 million, they have been dealing with this divorce for a year. For a year. Okay, these things don't happen overnight. He's been dealing with that. He's been getting, people taking shots and, Tom's not committed. They can't run the ball. The receivers haven't helped him. Nobody can stay healthy. He fought with Bruce Arians from the beginning, even though they got a Super Bowl. But here was Tommy Brady, invested to the final drive on the sidelines after the game, fighting no passive-aggressive nonsense, no pouting on the field. Brady is 45 years old, and they are asking him to throw almost 60 times a game. They can't run the ball. And this organization was always going to be a challenge. Do you remember what I said? Okay, I'll pat myself in the back when he came to Tampa. I said, it's not going to be about players. It's going to be about the organization. Tom is committed, all in, intense, focused, and obsessed. Hey, I lived in Tampa. It's Ybor City. It's cocktails early. It's warm and golf all winter long. It is a loose, non-buttoned-up organization, and it is to this day. It has always been an underachieving, loose organization with tons of talent. They've never struggled with talent. Jameis Winston's teams had talent. But Tom, from day one, has been asked to be the adult in the room. Cinch it up. Put your arms around it. Galvanize it. Put a fence around it. Let's get all in here, guys, all focused. And that first year, we saw him yelling and screaming and dog cussing, and in the bye, they got it right, won a Super Bowl. And then last year at the end of the year, remember, it got a little loose. This is probably about the time Tom was struggling in his personal life. He had other focuses. He had things to deal with, like a family, his kids, concerns. It got loose. And once Tommy was a little loose, forget it. That's what this organization is. They're all loose. Every day in Tampa, you're trying to get everybody all in. I covered the organization. I've always had like a soft spot for the Buccaneers, but it has been a struggle from day one to make sure everybody gets how important it is. Running backs, they gain weight, they lose weight, they fumble, they don't show up. Linebackers, wide receivers drop passes. It's still loose. It would be a mess without Tommy here. But you have to absolutely love how committed, how much of a foxhole guy Brady is. And he is living proof of belief. I know it can be corny, and I know sometimes it's cringy. With Brady, you never doubt he believes. Maybe it's false hope, corny optimism, but I'm watching that game when he got that ball back with almost no time left, and I'm like, yep, that puppy's over. Here comes Tommy. They hadn't played well. They can't run the ball. He's throwing it for the 53rd time, the 54th time, the 5th. And that's what it's all about. It's not just about you throw a pretty ball. It's about commitment, all in. You notice when there was a retirement thing that came out about, was it 6 months ago, 8 months ago about Brady? It was reported he had considered retirement. He didn't talk about it publicly because he knows you start talking about with your teammates and they're like, we're not all in. Who's guiding the ship? Yeah, Tommy did consider retirement. He didn't constantly throw it out there. He wanted to hide it from people because he knows it's detrimental to the leadership and the quarterback process. But if you watch this Tampa thing, what's so miraculous about it, if you look at the history of this franchise, it's been one or two great leaders. Tony Dungy, great leadership qualities. Tony Dungy. Tom Brady, great leadership qualities. It's taken that guy. It has taken that like iconic, classic, lead men, lead them, Dungy, Brady. That's when they've had their success. And then those guys leave and they flail. If Tom left tomorrow, this organization would be flailing all over the place. But I just loved, this was so Tom. Maybe this is his last come from behind win. Maybe this is it. But it just reeked of Tom and belief. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.